Hello, my name's Max, and today I'm bringing you one of the biggest games from 2023. I always forget we're in 24 right now. Forest Shuffle. And when I first did this one, I obviously thought Forest Shuffle, this might be a deck building game. I really did think it was going to be a deck building game with such a name. But it is not. It is all about cards, indeed, but it's not a deck building game. Let's get it to the table, see how it's set up, how it's played. Alright, so let's open up the box here. The rules reference here. So you have this nice little thing where you can have the animal sides with a bunch of animals on it, or just the plain old forests with some mushrooms and plants. We have to play with the animal side, come on, it's more beautiful. There we go. Trying a little bit of different angles right there. Okay, then you have the massive deck of cards right here. Now, depending on the amount of players, you will remove some of the cards. It's 30 for 2, 20 for 3, 10 for 4, and all cards with you're playing 5 players. Well, you know, shuffle them up and do that. I'm not gonna do it because there's a lot of cards. And just, I think, place them right there. You start off your game with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games and 5 cards. Now, nope, 6. So, I might as well be honest, my kryptonite is always remembering how many cards do you start with in your hand. Every time, 6 cards, great. Now, one important thing you will check once you have your cards is, do I have a tree? So in this one, I don't have a tree. So, I'm gonna do, you know, what's it called actually? Hail Mary. A mulligan. Yeah, to throw them out and take 6 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To hopefully then have a I didn't have a tree. Okay, I'm gonna give me a tree. God damn it. Okay, it only works if I have a tree. There we go. Okay, there's a tree now in my hand. There we go. Now I have a tree. So the way you will play is you can take 2 actions. Either you take 2 cards. Now throughout the game, some cards will end up face out here. You can take those. Or you can take just from the pile any order you want. Never to have more than 10 cards in hand. But of course you also want to play cards. So this is a tree that you play. It costs this up here. This one costs 0. But for example this one costs 2. And also a fun thing about that one is something that I'll show you in just shortly. And when you play this one, this is a birch tree. It allows you to draw a card and also grant your point at the end. You put it down. Now when you play a tree, you will always flip an extra card out here, no matter if you paid for it or not. So take 1 card, flip it out here. Bam, and then I draw my card. Which of course is nothing. Anyways, okay, I just need to check something. Because I plan out these kinds of things days in advance. Anyways, some cards will have this icon down here. And what it basically means is if you pay the entire card's cost with cards that match this symbol. So for example, I have this one, which has this one. It doesn't have to be both of them, just one of them. And again here you have this one that fetches 2 cards, costs 2 with that symbol. That means I get to use that power. In this example, it is taking another turn. And I'm just gonna use that turn to drop some cards because bloody hell. Well, one interesting combo could be to draw the cards back up, for example. Anyways, playing around a tree, you might notice that a bunch of my cards in here are not tree cards. You play those around the tree. So, these cards played either on top or underneath the tree. So just do that, and again pay the cost. A butterfly costs nothing. And these cards will be played to either side of the tree. Okay. So I'll play, for example, this one. Now, these 2 symbols matching, I'll just show you here. These 2 symbols matching, right? These 2 symbols up here. Doesn't necessarily do anything, but there might be some cards in there where it does matter. But not necessarily. Like I played the butterfly on top of this one as well. But I pay the costs. Just one. The wild boar here costs, and it has that symbol, so I get to draw a card. Yay! Ah, well shit, it costs 2. Ignore that. And then a bunch of them that score. And now as a ground rule, you only allow one card on either side. There's a few cards, for example, the European hare here. Any number of European hares maybe share this spot, so you can just put down a hare and just build out a bunch of hares. And obviously, you could put down the fox here because it scores per hare. No, it allows me to draw a card per hare and scores per hare. We play that on the other side, and let me just get another bottom here. What the heck is it? There's one here. This little fire ant down here. I'm just gonna place it here and here, and now I have a fully enclosed and filled up tree, as you see. And basically go at this until something that I obviously forgot. During setup, also everybody receives a cave. Some cards allow you to put cards below the cave. But you will also put in these 3 winter cards in the bottom third or the bottom half-ish of the pile of cards. Once all 3 have been drawn out, the game ends immediately. Nothing with equal amount of turn, just ends. And a count of points, scoring differently based on the trees, of course. Let me see. So the oak here scores 10 points of all 8 tree species in your area. The fox scores per European hare. The wood ant scores per card below a tree. The butterflies score per different butterfly. This tree just scores. This one scores 3 points per of this symbol, as you can see here. This symbol, which is obviously this one up here. Most cards do count themselves in that. But if you are in any worry, you can just check the cards. So most card games will have a glossary and like an independent rule sheet or something. But these guys just printed out more cards. I think that's lovely, a little thing to make them different. But that's basically Forest Shuffle. I don't think there's much more I can say to it. Back to the table. So there we are, not deck building at all, no. Forest building it is. Not even engine building really. There is some aspects with especially mushrooms to do something every time you play something. But let's talk about the gameplay. So the gameplay is lovely and simple. Draw up 2 cards, play a card, paying its cost, and always keeping an eye on when that little conveyor belt gets to 10 cards, you reset it. I definitely was bit in the butt at one point with some trees trying to assemble those. Also, make sure the first time you shuffle these cards, you really shuffle them, because I accidentally, because I just took them shuffling like this, I accidentally shuffled out. In the 3-player game you have to remove 20 cards. In those 20 cards, one entire tree species was, because I just hadn't gotten those cards shuffled good enough. So an entire tree species was missing, and we were 2 players trying to assemble all 8 tree species in our forest. So that was nice. So make sure you shuffle them properly next time. But besides that little hiccup, it's a lovely little game. You have a whole bunch of cards that do a whole bunch of stuff, and what you get on your hand, what shows up, that's gonna dictate how you play. Of course, there is a limit to it, so to speak. We all went for butterflies, but I tried to add to those butterflies with some birds that score points for insects and butterflies, obviously insects. And of some birds that score points for some birds, and I went that direction, right? And my wife actually went the direction of filling all of her trees, because she got a ferret, I think it was, that scores a point for filled trees, you know, having 4 cards around it. And another person that went a little bit hard on that all 8 trees thing. Sorry about that. It ended up also costing me quite a few points, but she got some cards that talked about that, so she obviously went for it. And I saw some cards where I wanted to do something with them that just didn't fit in right. There was some bear, like I got a few deers in, and I got 2 deers in, and it's like, if I got more deers I could assemble some more, but it's too late now because I'm going to stress it, so maybe I try it next time. And then you go in wolves because they score based on deer, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. But I'm doing a different strategy, and next time I'm probably not going to do the strategy of all 8. I'm gonna go for 4 of that one where you need 4 to score a bunch of points. Then I'll see, you know, if I get the chestnut, you just gotta have a lot of those. You know, these tactics, I can change the tactics. That's so awesome through just a deck card, and then it's an expansion, which may or may not be shipped to me at any time during the fucking year. It's 2 weeks since I ordered them. well, tomorrow it's 2 weeks, but tomorrow it's Saturday, which means tomorrow it's weekend. So it is 2 weeks now since I fucking ordered them, and they have not been shipped out yet. I'm very pissed off. I should write them. The company actually that's shipped them, and not Lookout Games. That's very important. It is not them. It's a distributor here in Denmark. Anyways, so many tactics here. Now, of course, the gameplay wise, with the paying for the cards, that's very interesting. Because a lot of the time I sit with cards and I wanted to play them all, so you have to choose which cards is least important for you to play and put them out in hopes you can get them back. And I did the thing with 10 cards and remove all of them. That bit me. Like it's 2 cards, just lost some cards that I could use. Dang it. Yeah, we did not got to use the cave, but I did see a card or 2 that allowed you to use the cave. So I would be interested in playing that again and trying to do that. I know the bear does, right? Take all the cards in here and put them in. That's an awesome card to put in. Like if there's like 5 cards in there, you pay 3 for the bear, put it in. 8 cards right there, 8 points, that's a decent amount of points. I mean, my wife did a whole bunch in the bats. It's so awesome how easily you simply would change up the strategy. And of course, constantly thinking about what am I going to pay for this card with? Like which card am I okay with losing, because all of them are useful. Definitely wanted to fill out more trees, and that's a goal. Bloody hell, I'm sweating. That's a goal for next time I'm playing, is to fill out a tree or 2, because they look really awesome when you do that. And when it comes to that gameplay, let's talk about components. There's not a lot to talk about. You have the little board in the middle, it's actually nice. When you have a smaller box like this one and you use something that folds out 3 times, it's easy for it to, like, you know, bend a little bit. This one doesn't. It goes flat, it's nice. And of course the cards. The most important thing is the cards. And they're awesome. They're great, good quality, really good quality cards, and obviously artwork on here is very, very beautiful. You can see it on the cover here. Very beautiful art. It's more some artwork made to be more realistic, a little bit like in Meadow, but I think Meadow still brightens it up a bit, you know, makes it a little bit more cartoony whilst going for a realistic look. This is full on realistic shadows and a little bit darker in it, because nature is not as bright and colorful. It is matted colors, so to speak, as you see on this fox here. Right, on the Meadow it has, not a fox, but I can't remember what those are called. And it's also orange, but it's more bright on Meadow, but in this one it's more a little matted. And then it's no dig at Meadow, I love Meadow, it has beautiful artwork. See, I didn't even notice that one until right now. I just noticed that one. And I think that's awesome, because that is the tactic of animals in real life. Right here in the cover, it's hidden. I just noticed it. And that's what animals do in real life, so it's very realistic. Lovely, lovely artwork. Absolutely amazing artwork, honestly. And of course, it's nature. I love nature. But let's talk about the theming. Because a lot of times when you get nature games, it's very simple. It's, you know, I can talk about Meadow again. It gives that same feeling, right? Meadow, you put a fox on top of a mouse, which you put on top of a ground card that has some flowers on it. And it makes sense, it's sort of the food chain. And that's a little bit what you're doing in Forest Shuffle as well, a little bit, except you're not like eating all the cards, so to speak. But you know, you have the birds and the butterflies at the top, they're flying around, and you have the mushrooms, and you have the little critters down below, and you have the deer and the wolves and the wildebeests, not in this game unfortunately. The wild pigs, the pumbas, as we like to say. All that in the middle, all surrounded around the trees, and that's super thematic. I shouldn't have to explain why, honestly. Everything is about the trees that sustain life here on our planet, and it's beautiful, and it's beautifully told in this game through how you place the cards. So I think I've sung a lot of praise to it right now. So what will the score be or something? I haven't done a review in so long, I've forgotten which order I'm doing it in. Does it lie to you? That's where we got to. Let's see, 2 to 5 players, 60 minutes, 10 and up. So 2 to 5 players, I've said that pretty happy. We played 3 and 2, and then that's awesome. And I think it very much goes up. The only issue I have is the amount of cards you put out doesn't change. Like at 5 players, it's just one turn where everybody plays a card, you have to reshuffle it. So 2 and 3 you can more use it, not as much as 5. It's more of, it's not planning ahead. When you play at 4 or 5, it's more of like reacting like, oh, that card I can use it, so draw up and then wait to play. So maybe you should increase it, decrease it, you know, make it go from 8 to 12, depending on if you are 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe just to increase it a little bit. But that's a minor little thing on the higher play count. I still think it would work really, really well going around. Keep an eye on what everybody does, making it more of a challenge on like the linden trees, where you have to have the most, or at least not anyone having more than you. That'd be more of a challenge to keep an eye on at higher play counts. So I think this is probably a game I'm going to be preferring to play at 2 or 3, but we'll definitely give 4 or 5 a try if people want to play with me. 60 minutes seems about accurate. Yeah, the time to play it, of course. More players is going to take more time, less players is going to take less time. So that's why I always say, I would say give a range like 50 to 110. No, not 110 minutes. No, that's stupid. 50 to 70, right? Give a range, because at 5 players it's going to take more time than 2 players. At every game, all of the time. Also because you're playing with less cards. 10 and up again, that's a 10. It just sounds so young to me. There's a lot of text on it, so obviously, first of all, it needs to be someone who can read English. Otherwise, you're just going to be asking questions all the time. And again, there's some symbology in there which you can check up on, but there's also some text that says for every. So. But it tends to sound so young to me, because there is a lot of ways to interact with it, because you have to keep an eye on the lindens and the chestnuts, and you have, you know, wolves and the bears, and what do they do, and all these things, and just those are just the cards I can remember. So it just sounds too young to me. I would go a little bit over in that, but it's it's the most difficult one to think about, because it depends on how long have you been playing with your children. Maybe my children, once I have them at 10, will be capable of playing a game like this, because I'm going to be playing games with them all the time. So, the final score, I'm going to be giving it a 9 out of 10. Not the perfect 10 out of 10 score, so what's keeping it away? So first of all, you have this thing with the number of players, right? You need to have a pretty good range. You need to not lie to me about your range of players for it to be a perfect score, at least. And it has that faults in the range, as I talked about. Then you also have the fact that, as I said, we all went for butterflies. And we were 2 out of 3 that went for trees, for all 8 trees, right? So you are going to follow a lot of the same steps, because although there's a whole lot of cards, there's also a lot of similar cards. So you are going to end up following sort of the same steps, and there's going to be the same tactic going on multiple places. Like, we're 2 that are going for all 8 trees. All 3 went for butterflies. We're 2 that were going for the lindens, right? I'm just using the 3-player game as an example, because the most players we've played with. So you are going to be following each other a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're looking at like, okay, maybe it's not so different after all. Sure, you had something with full trees. You got some boars, wild boars. That's what it's called, right? Wild boars, not wildebeest. Wild boars, and I got a little bit of the birds. But in the end, we're very similar in our strategies. So that takes a little bit away from it. But a 9 out of 10 is still really high. It's still an amazing game, amazing theme, amazing artwork. Great little game. I am so looking forward to the expansion. I'm going to go write the company right now. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. Yes, I'm keeping it.